Hi everyone, today we're going to be making a work of art inspired by Romero Britto. And for this project, we're going to be using a white piece of paper, a plastic cup, some markers to add color, and a black Sharpie. One of the things to keep in mind, boys and girls, is that when we're using our markers, we can actually use the tip to kind of favor us in a certain way. Let's take a look, for instance, at the black Sharpie. If we use the thin part of our black Sharpie, it creates a nice thin line. If we use the bold side of our Sharpie by tilting it sideways, that is going to give us a nice, thick, bold line. So as you can see, we can actually create two different types of lines with our black Sharpie. A thin line and a bold line. That's the same thing that we can do with our Crayola markers. If we just use the tip of our marker, we can create a thin line. If we use the side of our marker, we can create a bold line. So let's say we're coloring in some areas. So I'm gonna just draw two rectangles here. If I were to use the tip of my marker, I could get a pretty good coloring that's nice and thorough with the tip, but it's going to take me longer. And I recommend using the tip only for smaller sections in your picture. So as you can see, you can fill it in nicely and it still works just as well, but it just takes a little bit longer. And that's using the thin part of my marker. If I use the bold part of my marker, then I just tilt it to the side and I'm able to color it in a lot faster by tilting it to the side. And there we go. So that I'm using the bold part of it by tilting it to the side. So those are the different ways that you guys can use your markers, and keep that in mind when we're creating our work of art. Here we go. All right, once we have all of our materials gathered, let's go ahead and begin. We're first going to start off with two circles towards the center part of our paper. So if we put our hands towards the middle here, we can see how one fish will be towards the right-hand side and one fish will be towards the left-hand side. So let's go ahead and kind of visualize that now with our cup. We're going to put one fish by holding our cup down towards the right-hand side, towards the middle, and we're going to draw a circle by tracing around the cup. Now we're going to take our circle and put it right next to it, or take our cup and put our cup right next to the circle and trace it around as well. So there we go. If your two circles are touching, that's okay. If they're not touching, that's okay too. As long as they're pretty close together, that's all that matters. So now let's go ahead and draw a circle, nice and big, facing the center here. This is going to be the eyeball for one of our fish. So let's go ahead and draw the kind of like the eyelid and the pupil area. I want to go ahead and shade it just to remind me that this is going to be the eyeball right here. I'm going to put a nice big smiley face as well. Right on the other side, I'm going to do the same. But this time, I'm going to make it into a female eye, which is fancier. And just kind of go on with the same idea. Maybe add some eyelashes. And the lips. Okay, now before we do the line in the middle, let's go ahead and add a little bow on this little guy here. He's a fancy little fish. We can now go ahead and section off this part here where the body is going to connect with the rest of it, the head. And we can do the same thing on the opposite side here too. Okay, now we're gonna go ahead and draw a line right through the middle on both sides. And let's go ahead and draw the tail part now. So we're gonna bring down 2 lines that connect to the circle on the left-hand side and 2 lines on the right-hand side as well. This is gonna be the tail part. So we're gonna go ahead and connect those as well. And we can do extra lines to help us add detail towards the end. Okay, looks like these 2 little fishies are just falling in love. This picture shows the really nice positive feelings that Romero Britto wanted to express in his work. So let's go ahead and emphasize on that by drawing more hearts around. So we're going to draw some hearts towards the top here, right where the 2 circles meet. So right where the 2 circles come together, we're going to draw more hearts. Coming out towards the top and all throughout the top area here. Now let's not forget about the waves. Looks like these little fishies are within a tank of water or something. So let's go ahead and make a nice big long curvy line that goes across from side to side. Notice how I overlapped part of my fish and my ocean line. That's okay. You can do that. Okay, boys and girls, so now it's time to add some designs to our beautiful work of art. Our color is going to come towards the end, but first, let's design it. Let's add some patterns and some shapes. So in order to do that, let's go ahead and take a look and see what some of Romero Britto's patterns consist of. All right, boys and girls, so to get started with our pattern, let's take a look at some of Britto pattern inspired designs. So these here are all based on his beautiful signature designs that he uses. So if you take a look, they're very simple. It's just repeated. That's all it is. If you think about it, it's just a line with a dot that repeats over and over and over to create a pattern. In this one here, he uses a flower and little dots around it to create a beautiful pattern design with flowers and dots. In this one here, he uses a circular swirly shape, a round shape with little sticks on it. And this one kind of reminds me of wood, kind of like a wooden texture. This one has double little lines that kind of go along with like a little C shape next to it. And then some dots and some stripes. So these patterns here, we're going to be adding to our beautiful picture that we already have here. So let's have fun decorating our picture with lots of pattern. You can use any type of patterns that you see here in Britto inspired patterns, or you can use your own. So let's go ahead and do that next. When you're adding your pattern, boys and girls, you can repeat your patterns just like this. I've repeated my stripes on several areas. And you can also use your own type of patterns if you want. Also, you don't have to add pattern in every single little space that you see. You can leave some of the spaces open without any pattern. That'll create more balance to your work of art. Boys and girls, now that we have our pattern all laid out and our beautiful picture ready to be colored in, let's take our markers or our coloring tools and start adding color to our beautiful picture. You can use nice, bright, bold colors for your painting to represent Britto's use of color. Remember that he wanted to use colors that were vibrant and bright, so that he can represent beautiful and wonderful feelings in his artwork, not only through his shapes and designs, but also through his beautiful bright colors that he used. So let's go ahead and start adding beautiful bright colors to our picture next. To finish off your painting, boys and girls, you can always go back and do some more outlining, especially on the dark areas of your picture. So all the black lines, you can go back and retrace them, just like Romero's pictures. His paintings were very boldly outlined. So we can do that with our black Sharpie, just the way I showed you in the beginning of this video.